so welcome to the board.
Thank you.
And so, one thing we're gonna do though is, do we have anyone from the community to engage in a citizens' general discussion? Okay, hearing none, I'm gonna go ahead and move to the next thing on our agenda for this, September 11 Board of Adjustment meeting for the city of Stephenville, and that is, I'm gonna ask that we table the approval of the minutes from the August 14 meeting. We need to get some further clarification, and actually, now that I'm thinking about it, Mr. Killen, I think that it wasn't the August 14 meeting that may have been the one that was problematic, but it may have been the one right before it that was a special meeting, right? So
For the reviewing the minutes for the August 14th meeting, I believe that was, for the case that we're hearing tonight, was tabled, and there was no subsequent action taken. So those minutes, Mr. Chairman, I think are ready for approval if you're comfortable moving forward.
Okay. Well, do I hear a motion for approval of the minutes for August 14th meeting?
I so move.
Okay. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Jackie. Thank you, Mary. Any discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, so I'll sign those after the meeting.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
We'll move now to the regular agenda. Mr. Killen, if you'd introduce application number B9062, please.
Yes, sir. The applicant, thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. The applicant is Mr. Alan Foster. He's requesting a variance for a carport, which is a variance from section 154-21-3C. Construction of carport at 2050 Crest Ridge, which is parcel R28948. Block A, lot 28 and 29 of the Chamberlain addition of the city of Stephenville, Erath County, Texas. Mr. Foster is requesting this variance for a 22 by 24 carport over the property driveway, which actually fronts on Crest Ridge. Based on the information provided by Mr. Foster, the carport will be 24 foot deep. This will end the carport at approximately 17 foot from the edge of pavement, according to the dimensions provided in his rendering. GIS mapping shows that Crest Ridge is a 43 foot right-of-way currently. It's a 50 foot local street by design. So if there's any future development on that roadway through like catastrophic event or anything of that nature, we would actually require the additional 7 foot of right-of-way be dedicated. Taking that in consideration, Mr. Foster's share of that right-of-way dedication would be approximately 3.5 feet. The front face of Mr. Foster's home is 29 foot from his property line, according to GIS mapping. If we consider the 29 foot existing and also the 3.5 foot right-of-way that could be required in the future, that would reduce the distance from the face of his home to the edge of his property line to 25 feet. The roof edge of the garage is approximately 31 foot from the existing property line. Again, with the 24 foot deep carport and a 3.5 foot additional right-of-way requirement, should that become necessary in the future, would put the edge of this carport very close to the property line. The concern from staff would be that if this is approved and built without a survey, it could, in theory, encroach the future right-of-way should that 3.5 foot be required. And so we just want to be very cautious about the amount of variance that's granted. Mr. Foster's done a great job providing some illustrations, and Jeff, if you could scroll down on that staff report, I'd appreciate it. Here he's showing the distance at roughly 41 feet from the garage to the edge of pavement, but understand the edge of pavement is not necessarily where his property line ends. Edge of pavement, actually his property line ends roughly where his approach stops and the new pavement begins. And then if you consider 3.5 feet beyond that, about where that expansion joint is in that concrete. Now, if you look at the front face of his home, the roof kind of overhangs that wall where his porch is, where the garage is set back just a couple of feet, maybe 3 feet more beyond the front face of that garage. I don't know exactly where Mr. Foster intends to tie that carport on. If you scroll down one more frame, Jeff, here you see that it looks like it's maybe connecting to the eave of the home. If he brought that up and connected it to the driveway or to the garage, that would give him a few more feet on the distance, and then obviously end it a little shorter of the drive approach and the property line. I'm not trying to dictate Mr. Foster's plans, but I do want to be very transparent in the fact that there's a 3.5-foot right-of-way dedication that could come into play in the future. And of course, should the city ever need to require that additional 3.5-foot dedication, then that could require that, or mandate that Mr. Foster remove his carport, depending on if it encroached upon city right-of-way or not. So, Jeff, I think if we scroll down a little bit more, that is just showing to the edge of his property, adjacent property owner. Scroll down more, please. Is there anything else, Jeff, on that staff report? I think maybe that's it.
So
There's
the
one more
side
rendering.
setback isn't an issue.
Sir?
The side setback, it wouldn't even be an issue.
Side setback's not an issue, it's just the front setback variance that we're considering tonight. Mr. Foster, I'm sure can provide some clarification on what his plans are exactly as far as how that's going to be constructed. But with that, Mr. Chair, unless there are any question, that concludes my report.
Very good, thank you so much. Any questions from the board? All right, Mr. Foster, if you'd like to come up, please introduce yourself behind the podium there for our recording, and then if you want to speak to your request, you have about 3 minutes.
Okay, good afternoon. I'm Alan Foster, reside at 2050 Crest Ridge Drive here in Stephenville. And yeah, I guess I didn't do a very good job at the drawings though. The carport wouldn't be attached to the house at all. It would actually kind of hang over about 1/2 foot or a foot above the garage and then come down from there. So it wouldn't be attached to the house at all. So that would push it up a little further. So yeah, I mean, you can just tell me how far I need. I'm assuming that you're talking about my property line would probably be right there where the white concrete starts up, the new.
No, not quite. I think if I understand it correctly, because of the addition, the 3.5 feet or whatever, it sounded like Mr. Dillon was describing this joint would be about, right? Is that?
Mr. Chair, that's correct. Let me clarify real quick. Right now, his property line stops right about here according to GIS mapping. With the additional 3.5 foot, I'm assuming that's gonna push it back to about right here, should we ever require that dedication. So my concern would be is if he comes out and extends beyond approximately right in this area, that he could one day be facing a situation where he's encroaching the right of way. And so I just wanted to make sure that he was aware that we need to stop with it overhanging the top of his garage and then projecting out towards the street. I think that will negate the concerns that I have, and if Mr. Foster is comfortable with that knowledge and building it accordingly, then I think his variance request would be submitted.
Yeah, actually, it's the end of the carport should be right behind the truck. So it's
well-
much further up.
Well, before you get to your actual property line.
Oh,
even with that
yeah.
adjustment.
Yeah, I mean, just right where the truck's parked, the end of that carport will be, that's it. Because I'm just wanting enough to cover just the very front of the garage area and then back covering the truck, the whole thing. But any more than that, yeah, I wouldn't be extending back any further.
Very good.
And if y'all need, I've got some examples of, he's built 3 in my neighborhood. And I've got some examples of his work if you'd like to have that.
That'd be great. We'd love that. I'm just gonna take one and pass it. So that attached here. So it's a similar design, it would kind of overhang It would go over just like these do?
Exactly.
While these photos are going through the board here, are there any questions from the board for Mr. Foster?
How many carports are in this neighborhood?
Let's
Any
see.
idea, Mr. Foster?
Those three he built, and that's on my street. That's one of them, and then there's two others that I know of. And then on the other street was those other two, and then maybe one other one. So,
So you're saying that all of these are in your neighborhood? Or,
yes,
okay,
yeah, on two streets, on my street and then one over. Yeah, I don't know who built the others, but the same builder that I'm hiring built those.
Mr. Chairman, let us keep those as exhibits as they were submitted to the.
We'll just hand in that direction. Thank you very much. You don't have, I think I understood Mr. Killen's in his introduction to this, that there's not a survey at the moment, but you could,
Yeah, I don't know of any survey.
okay. What is your thought about how many feet would be given back if the carport was moved back towards your home? Like,
Well, I mean, just
like-
tell me how many feet I need to be up from where it starts on that line, and that's what I'll do.
Okay.
I mean, whatever.
No, okay, so the question actually is more pertaining to what kind of variance are you actually requesting? So if there's a rule or an ordinance that says it has to be, you know, within 50 feet, let's say, well then, if you're saying my carport is gonna go 27 feet, whatever, you know,
Mhm.
then you're actually saying it has to be, if it has to be a certain amount from the easement or what have you, then I'm asking for an exception to that length.
Uh-huh.
That's the variance that I'm asking you. What are you asking us to grant to you? Because we can't just give a blanket variance
Yeah.
um, exception.
Well, the way he measured off was the measurements that, you know, because I had told him, I said, I just want to make sure the truck's covered. So whatever, I guess the 22 by 24, so 24 feet would include above a foot, probably a half foot or a foot above the ridge line back. So, and you had mentioned it was how many feet that you're showing?
31 foot to your property line. Mr.
Okay.
Chairman,
31.
if I may.
Yeah, please.
Perhaps if Mr. Foster is agreeable, I think if the board approved the variance with the condition that it not approach the sidewalk more than, well, let me rephrase this, that the carport stop 8 feet from the edge pavement, I think that would allow for the future right-of-way dedication, which may or may never happen, but in the event that it does, it would circumvent any issue with the carport.
So that's just where the new concrete starts, right there, before the dirty.
When you say pavement, do you mean the street pavement, or are you talking about the concrete? Okay, so
Edge
the edge of
pavement.
the street, okay. So 8 feet, he's saying 8 feet into your property from the edge of the street,
Okay, from the actual street.
street edge.
8 feet out.
Correct.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, I'm well above that then, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you.
All right, I need to now open up to the public, so for a public hearing on this request. And is there anyone here to speak for or against the request? We did get a letter in the 11th hour, as they say, and it was an email sent yesterday actually, but from Janet Jackson, and the subject was construction of carport. And it says, this letter formally objects to the proposed carport at 2050 Crest Ridge Drive as detailed in the planning application. Concerns about this development's potential negative impacts on the neighborhood. We own the home at 2088 Crest Ridge, as well as part ownership in 2060 Crest Ridge, which is next door to said property. We are not trying to be uncooperative, but we feel it will look unsightly and obstruct the view from our homes. Thank you for the time and consideration of these concerns. Updates on the application's progress and further opportunities for community input are anticipated. Thank you, Craig and Janet Jackson. So, this is my copy of the email I printed up, but we have that on the record now too. All right, are there any other? No? Okay, we'll close the public hearing for application V 9062. And, do I hear a motion regarding this application?
I move that we approve the requested variance with the caveat, as Mr. Killen stated, that the beginning of or the edge, rather, of the carport not be any closer than 8 feet from the edge of the street pavement.
Thank you, Mary. I hear a motion. Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
All right, thank you very much. Any discussion? Any concerns, thoughts, questions?
When I saw the first picture, I was thinking it was coming all the way down to the edge, so I was kind of concerned about that, but it makes sense now going that 8 foot.
Yeah, and the overlap with the house means it's pulling it in, kind of making it part of the house, yeah.
And it looks like there's other structures in the neighborhood that's got that
Yeah.
same.
So there's a
Correct.
precedent and not more than one.
Right.
And I don't want to discount, I know we got a letter of opposition. I don't want to discount her concerns. But also, carports are something that have more and more been brought in the hot Texas sun. I know they provide a benefit to homeowners. So I think this is probably something we're gonna see more and more of.
Yeah,
And-
in the winter too, I guess we have concerns for.
Right, and hail damage and, yeah. So, and given that there are several already in the neighborhood, I really, it doesn't seem fair to tell this homeowner no when we've already approved several others in this neighborhood.
And I'll just add that you're gonna go with the same builder that did the carports in these photos.
Yes.
So we already have a sense of what it'll look like too.
And it may be with this homeowner, or maybe the homeowner that wrote in opposition, it may be their concern that all of a sudden these are popping up, and that they're so close to the street, and that it's changing the dynamic of the neighborhood. And so, I know that I would personally feel a little bit more secure about approving it if our graphic representation was more in line with having it closer in, and so what we have on record shows that yes, this is what's the actual plan as opposed to verbal.
Wait,
But I'm not against it per se, it's just I would feel more comfortable.
the pictures that were provided show that overlap on the garage, like as he had described. So with that, and given the 8-foot setback that we're requiring, I think that pulls it closer to the house, so you're not gonna have that sightline vision. I get what you're saying though.
All right, I'll go ahead and call the question. So, we'll just go ahead and vote on this motion. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
None opposed? All right. Your request has been granted. All right, we have another application here. It's number 5 on our agenda, application number B9150. Mr. Killen?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Applicant Francisco Perez requesting a variance from section 154.062D, which relates to the minimum setback requirements for property at 1901 West Washington. This is parcel 32039, which is block D 39, lots 1, 2, 3, 26, and 27 of the Groesbeck and McClellan addition to the city of Stephenville, Erath County, Texas. In the staff report, I'd mentioned that we had not received the details needed to be able to provide a lot to the board. Since that, we've been given additional information from Mr. Francisco and Perez, and that is included in your packet. And so wanted to show the renderings to you. Jeff, I believe those are the third attachment down. So this is the map showing, Jeff, I'm sorry, if you could back up right there, just kind of give you an idea. That's the new parking building for TSU. The green highlight with the blue, green property with the blue highlight
Right
is
across from us.
1901. This building's been in place for several years. It's a very nice looking remodel for a restaurant that is coming in the very near future. Straight across the street from the Ball Diamond for Tarleton State. So just kind of give you a point of reference on that. Jeff, if you would scroll down, please. That's it without the zoning layer on. This is B2 zoning. So the setbacks have been mentioned, 20-foot setback for front. Scroll back down, please. And we should get to a rendering here in a second. Lots of maps included. Here we go. This is what he's provided is 12-foot tall structure, canopy attached to the building. I think it complements the building very well. Similar to what Buffalo Wild Wings has. Understand Buffalo Wild
Starbucks.
Wings is a state property and not subject to the requirements of the city of Stephenville. Scroll down one more, please, Jeff. I believe he has there we go, that metric there, 20-foot wide, 12-foot from the face of the building. And so this building is currently 25 foot from the edge of pavement of Washington, which is the current property line. So if the 12 foot is granted, the edge of that structure would still be approximately 13 foot from Washington. Now, there's one key piece of information that we need to consider, similar to the last property that we discussed. Washington is a 100-foot right-of-way. Currently, Washington is only 77 foot wide. That's a 23-foot delta. So if you take the 23-foot delta and consider that this property could one day be required to split the difference of that 23-foot shortage on the right-of-way, that's roughly 12, let's say 11 and a half feet, exactly. 11 and a half feet plus the 12 foot off the face of that building. He's 25 feet away from it now. It would not necessarily encroach the right-of-way, but it would very well would be within just a couple of feet from the pavement of the right-of-way. So just wanted to make that clear to the Board of Adjustment, and not necessarily, staff doesn't necessarily have any real issue with it. However, that future right-of-way, should development occur, could put that pavement pretty close to this particular structure. If we look at an aerial, Jeff, back on those, if you could scroll up for me, please. That's good. If we look at the buildings surrounding here, now to the east, that's Tarleton State University. And of course, that parking garage is not going anywhere. And so the reality of Washington being expanded, that additional 12 foot on the north side of Washington probably doesn't exist where Tarleton State built that building. So everything to the west could expand. And if you look at those other properties to the west, nothing else is as close to the edge of the property line as this existing building, especially when you consider that 12-foot overhang with the canopy. Again, speaking realistically, this is probably not gonna be an issue in the future, but it's something that we have to be transparent about with the board. So with that, I'd be glad to answer any questions. Thank you.
Maybe this is a question for Mr. Perez, but maybe you, Mr. Killen, can answer it. The request is for some extra construction on this restaurant that would be cosmetic, not load-bearing.
I believe the intention is not load bearing, but the intention would be for, I understood, outdoor seating.
Okay. That's good to hear. And also, we'll just have Mr. Perez come up to the podium, please, and introduce yourself. Thank you very much, Mr. Killen.
Yes, sir.
Unless there are other questions for the board, okay. Could you just introduce yourself and?
How you're all doing? My name is Francisco Perez. Like how you're saying, we just want to go ahead and get a little patio canopy on the front. And then that's pretty much it, what we're looking for.
There was no parking at the front of this building where you're putting this.
No.
It was maybe part of a drive-through at one time, I think, but.
Yeah, it used to be a drive-through, so we
But
just
not-
want to cancel and do like a patio.
Okay,
But now, we decide to do something that has a closed patio. I mean, not closed, but like.
Covered,
like a
yeah.
covered patio.
I mean, just driving by it, it's a very beautiful, property.
Right.
And
And they
what
give a
you've done
little
with
different
the building
atmosphere
on
as well
top.
with a nice patio outside, so that's what we've been looking for and see.
But, just to make sure I understand, like I asked Mr. Killen, it's, so covered seating is definitely, if in the future something were to happen where the state wanted it back, like to do some expansion
mean-
on one, then that covered patio is cosmetic at the moment. It would be cosmetic sort of, and functional, but it's not load bearing. It's not gonna be like, oh, now the restaurant has to be demolished and start over again.
Right, right.
Right? I
No,
mean,
no.
So this is an additional, construction that, on the current building.
Yeah.
And you're asking us for the permission to basically.
Just to add.
Go 12.5 feet or 12
Right.
feet into this.
From our
Right.
building,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
That's.
So again, like I asked before, to Mr. Foster, it's like, what you're actually asking us for is a variance of about 12.5 feet.
That is correct, yes.
Right, and so, yeah. All right, any other questions for Mr. Perez?
A few questions I had about the roads right on the corner. How we can go ahead and, who's the one who take care of right next to us, patio? Concrete.
Mr. Chairman, let's direct
Sorry.
him to staff to.
Yeah, if you'll just talk to the staff after the meeting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I've been talking a little bit, few
They can
times.
at least
and-
direct you to
Yeah.
which office to go to.
Okay, I think that's gonna be it.
And probably, you're looking at one of the most important figures that you'll find.
Oh, okay.
It's me.
Oh, okay. All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. Okay. All right, thank you. Let's open up the public hearing now for, application B 9150. Is anyone here from the community who'd like to speak for or against this request? And no emails were received or, okay. All right, well, I'll close the public hearing, and do I hear a motion regarding application number B 9150?
I'll move that we approve, that the board approves, application number, V 2025-9150.
Second.
All right, thank you. JJ, thank you, Robert. Any discussion?
I just want to clarify the concerns. I have a similar concern as to with the previous property, that if for some unknown reason that space would be, and I guess this question is directed to Mr. Killen, if the city does require that space, that requirement would butt up right against where the patio goes. Would they have to tear it down in that instance, or would it just be one of those, there's a road and a patio? I mean, it seems like that would, I'm just trying to get a sense of what possibly could happen.
So we're in discussion now, is that
Yes,
correct?
we are.
Okay.
Wait, did I jump the gun?
No, you're good,
that's what
you're
this
good.
is.
We're in
Okay. Cause I was waiting.
We're in discussion of
Yes.
your motion, yeah.
Yeah, it is my motion,
But
but I
it's just
just,
a fun- I
I just
like
wanna
the
make
que-
sure that we're, you know,
There's a patio in the road, what if?
it's right there. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I've lived in places where that's how it is,
Yeah.
so I just wanna.
So
kinda
appreciate the,
understand.
if I may, I'm working off of GIS map lines,
Mhm.
which aren't 100% accurate, so there's, you know, a margin of error there to take in consideration.
Mhm.
But if TxDOT does come in and require additional right-of-way, and that particular structure impedes that right-of-way,
Mm.
then he would be required to remove the structure. If it's adjacent to the right-of-way, then it's a safety issue, and that's something that, you know, the city would have to take in consideration at that time and have those discussions with Mr. Perez accordingly. I don't think that is necessarily going to be a reality, but it's something that I guess it's my job to make that clear. So I don't necessarily have as mentioned, staff doesn't really have an objection to what's being presented. I just want to give you all the information so you can make an informed decision.
Thank you, because I know for me, it's similar with the other one, whereas as we can look at the construction from Tarleton going down Washington Street and the aesthetic and putting the patio to match the new aesthetic.
Would
If
that,
the other businesses continue to rebuild and grow that down the line, I just wanna be sure before we establish precedent, but.
would that right away include a sidewalk?
Yes.
So really, it would be the sidewalk that would go
Should be
right
the
up
sidewalk.
against, so,
Okay,
so
yeah.
even with the right of way in there, you're still gonna have that little bit of buffer from a sidewalk. But the sidewalk would literally be right by that patio, which is kind of what's going on
Yeah.
directly across the corner, yeah, so.
Any other comments, any questions, discussion?
So,
Okay, I'll call the question. All in favor of the motion to grant this request, please say aye.
Aye.
None opposed? All right, so the permission has been granted, and like I said, you can talk to staff after about your other question.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
if I may, I just need to make a quick announcement.
Okay.
No action on this item. It's just a friendly announcement to the board. Anticipate an email in the next, probably tomorrow morning. We are trying to schedule a specially called meeting that will be held on October 2nd. So please do everything you can to keep your calendars open for October 2nd. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Very good.
Oh.
October 2nd, which will
Oh, that's
not
Thursday.
replace our meeting for
The ninth?
the 9th. We'll still-
That is correct.
Okay, so it's two meetings next, early next month. All right, we have concluded our business. I'm gonna move that we adjourn. Nobody ever objects to that.